It's about Leeds today and what's going on in Hare Hills.
Yes, I was driving through there this morning at it was about 4:30 after the riots, and I saw an elderly gentleman stood on the corner, and there was a couple of men milling around. I was a bit fearful for his safety, so I got out of my car to make sure he was okay. And he was stood there looking at the bus that had been burnt out, and he was telling me that he was 82 years old, and he'd lived in the area all his life. And he said he joined the military when he left school at 16. He said, and our training, just as it is today, was to defend our country. He said, and the worst thing about it is the biggest threat to our country now is already here.
Blimey.
And I just thought it was very profound what he said. And he told me that years ago the area was dominated with the Sikh population and the Jews. He said, but there was cohesion between the British, the Jewish and the Sikhs. But now, is it as you saw on TV, everybody saw, the whole world saw what occurred last night. So there is no cohesion, it's them and us. He said, and that's a horrible thing to have to say in our country. He said, but it's the truth. He said, until people start calling it out for what it is, then it's going to get worse.
Yeah,
and I agree with that. I do.
Yeah.
I do 100% agree with that.
Look, I agree with it wholeheartedly, and I am fed up now of playing this game of not being able to talk about things that are having real-world impacts on people's lives who, frankly, don't deserve this. Whenever I look at my tax bill, and I'm not paid oodles of money, believe me, I am not, but I get dragged into various tax brackets that a lot of people aren't, and I can barely afford to pay my rent in London. I'm not even joking. I can't.
Yeah.
And when I look at the amount of tax that I pay, I'm one of the high-end taxpayers, and I know that I'm paying for the social housing of these people, right? I am paying for them. Me. Yeah. They're not paying anything I get. I'm of the percentage that is a net contributor, so I'm paying for this lot to take for granted having free housing, public transport, all the trappings of living in our country that people like I afford, and they tear it up, they destroy it, they laugh in our faces, and as a result of me being, the person propping up the entire thing, me paying for this and not being able to basically afford anything I want to do or enjoy in London because the cost of living's so blimmin' high here, I'm also then forced to be silent. That is the thanks I get. I'm not allowed to talk about this. And I've decided that, look, we've got to temper our language. I don't want to be incendiary. I don't want to cause unrest. I frankly am someone who's lived around the world and have warmth and love in my heart for everybody of every colour, creed, race, nationality. I genuinely do. But I've also got a true love affair with reality and truth and objectivity and proper journalism. And so I'm not playing this game anymore where we're silenced and we feel afraid to talk about things, because until we can have those adult conversations, this is going to get worse. And you're going to be affected, and I'm going to be affected, and the 82-year-old man you spoke to this morning is going to be affected, and actually members of the communities at the heart of this, who are the law-abiding, peaceful, integrated people who love living in Britain and appreciate what they've got, they will also be affected. So I'm going to call time on the nonsense of censorship, and I'm so glad, Marcel, you have phoned up and spoken to me today, because you have painted a very important picture illustrating exactly that point. So thank you ever so much for talking to me.